As we begin another week in Project 2020, Mariano blows another save, and I'm forced to pick between my first true love of Project 2020 and my new crush. Let's get to all that and more in 1 second. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you for clicking on my video. If you're new around here, my name is Chris, otherwise known on Twitter and Instagram as @CRT_Sportscards, and my website is the best website you want to visit for everything related to Project 2020. It's CRTSportscards.com. Go to the menu, drop down to Project 2020, and everything you need is right there. But here we are, week number 28. Again, the usual statement, we've seen 6 of the 10 cards and 2 of the 10 print runs. Let's get right to it. Let's get to the Tuesday cards. I'm going to hold the Monday cards till the end, but let's now talk about the Tuesday cards. First up on Tuesday is card number 267, Derek Jeter, designed by Joshua Vides. Here again with Joshua Vides, a very, very classic design, but his design style works well on this card because, as I talked about it in my video around his top 10 cards, any kind of light backgrounds, any kind of sort of washed out backgrounds really make his design style, his line work, and his dots really stand out. And with Jeter in the background, or with the baseball field in the background and Jeter sort of in the foreground, it works really, really well. So if you're a big Joshua Vides fan, or you're someone who's still contemplating collecting Joshua Vides, this is a good card for you to pick up and to collect. I do like this myself. And when you think about this card recently from the Sophia Chang release on print runs, again here I think we're going to see a card print around 4,000, maybe even a little bit lower. This right now could end up being the lowest Derek Jeter when you see this video tomorrow morning, or when the print runs get announced on Thursday, but we will see. But if you like Joshua Vides and you like Derek Jeter, this is a must buy for you. The second card of the day brings us this Sophia Chang Frank Thomas card number 268 in the entire Project 2020 set. And there's a reason why I think this is my favorite card on the Tuesday releases. And when you think back to the original Frank Thomas card from 1990 and the no name on front variation, it basically exists, I think, to our understanding because of the missing black paint or the missing black ink when they printed this variation. And as I know, as a kid, I could never afford that card. It was very, very expensive. When you take a look at this Sophia Chang, this is another artist who does pay homage to the fact that there is no name on the front, but she does the exact opposite, and she puts a major amount, or a massive amount, of black ink on the card in of itself. So I thought it was a really cool play on the no name on front, missing the black ink name. This card now has so much black ink, the name is basically blacked out. And here again on this card, she does the stats and sort of the messages in the card very well. It also kind of has a slight feel of an F-Dot card because she has All-Star MVP around the border, and that's something F-Dot has done and sort of patented is his move in the Project 2020 set. But the biggest thing that I liked about the card on top of the black ink is no shortcuts to success. Anyone who wants to be successful in life, you have to put in the work. There are absolutely no shortcuts. And for that to be right in the middle of the card, I thought it was a great message and a pretty deep meaning overall when you think about it. So great card on Tuesday, and this Sophia Chang Frank Thomas is my favorite card of the Tuesday releases. Now moving forward in the calendar one day, looking at the Wednesday releases, we have card 269 and 270 release. Now we are just 30 cards away from card number 300. We are getting so close to sort of the real downward slide of the set all the way to 400. Card number 269 is this Don Mattingly by Ermsey, and this is exactly what you expect to find from an Ermsey card. There were a lot of really cool things about this card. Hopefully you are not looking for a face on Don Mattingly, because the face is on the bottom left of the card. It is gone from his face, so it feels kind of like the Sandy Koufax card that he released earlier in the set, but a really, really fun and entertaining Don Mattingly. I really like the fact that the Yankees logo on the left stretched all the way to the right, and it's a backwards Yankees logo basically at the end. So I thought that was a really, really cool touch. And if you like Ermsey, you are gonna buy this card up in the 5-10 bundle just because you like this card so much, and the colors also work very, very well. And speaking of color, what we have in card number 270, the Cal Ripken Jr. by Blake Jameson, is an incredibly cool looking blue. I thought the color he picked here on this card was just fantastic. And you know, if you've watched my videos here recently, I have been somewhat critical and not the biggest fan of the most recent, Blake Jameson releases. But I think the blue works very, very well with the color. It contrasts well with the orange. Here again, it's a blue and orange card. It's not like the Willie Mays by Mr. Cartoon, but it works incredibly well because the blue brings out Cal Ripken. Cal Ripken really stands out in this card. And when you think back to like Blake's Nolan Ryan, maybe his Ricky Henderson, they're very, very busy and very, very loud in a good way, the backgrounds. But this is a solid color and it brings out the player. And so I thought it was a really, really good looking Blake Jameson. One of his better looking cards in the set. It is, though, not my favorite. My favorite is going to be the Don Mattingly, just because it's such a cool looking, fun card. And who would ever think we'd want to collect baseball cards without faces on them? And so this is why I'm going to go with the Ermsey on the Wednesday releases. And now one important topic everyone wants to know about is how is the market doing in Project 2020? Hopefully you are checking out my website every single morning as I release updated pricing on first player, second player, and the Forgotten 7, which will, starting next week, be the Forgotten 7 plus 1, as I do have to add in the Mariano Rivera by Natural. It is a card under a 2,000 print run range, but there are some really good signs out there. Now, the market is not moving together up as a whole. There are cards at times that are selling for more or greater than their current average, or at least over their 4-week trend. It's not isolated to a certain artist or certain player, but there are moments where cards are going for more. Like the other day I tweeted out in the morning, I think there were like 35 to 36 cards of the 47 that sold, and 20 of those cards sold for a higher number versus their weekly average. So there are signs the market is getting stronger. We will see what happens though. The baseball season came and went without a single promotion. Actually, there was one email from MLB around the Don C. Jackie Robinson that came out, but I don't know how widespread it was. But the baseball season came and went for Project 2020, so now we're really into the winter time. We'll see if the playoffs bring any kind of attention to the set. But for the most part, the MLB season was a dud for Project 2020. I had always held out hope that if baseball comes back and if MLB gets behind this project just in a little bit, we would have sort of not a surge of new buyers, but we'd have new buyers come in. We will see what happens in the next coming months as we get through card 300, to 350, and then to 400. But right now, the baseball season was kind of just a muted option for the set. Nothing really moved forward. So even though the shortened MLB season of just 60 games was a letdown for us, when you think about players who were not letdowns in their respective countries or in the baseball sort of history books altogether, is Roberto Clemente and Mariano. And eventually I will get his last name right, but we will say Mariano for right now. And going back to the Monday cards, we had Grotesque, my number one first love in Project 20, release his Mariano. And then F. my new crush right now, releasing his Roberto Clemente card. Two fantastic cards, two great ways to start Monday, and now I'm forced to pick a favorite of the two. Taking a look right now at the Grotesque version of Mariano. As I joked around a little bit before on other cards, we never had 3D, we never had a burger on a card before, and here again, no one ever thought we'd get two Marianos on a card, and Grotesque does it with this card. And the great thing is, the card works so well together. It is so symmetrically balanced, it is just really, really great to see. Also, the Bowman logo on the bottom right was a neat addition because Mariano's first card is a Bowman card, it's not a Topps card, but I thought it was a very, very well done card and great to see two Marianos. But how did that card sell? But first, let's now talk about that F. by Roberto Clemente, or let's talk about Roberto Clemente by F. So when you first look at this card, what is your first immediate thought? And for me, it's happiness, it's joy. The photo, the picture F. used of Clemente, I think was just fantastic for the card. And then you add in the colors on the card. This card is so vibrant. It stands out so very well. But what is F. known for? F. is known for having very deep references in this card and also some Easter eggs. I am sure right now, us who are buying this card on the website cannot find all of his Easter eggs. I'm drawn to Roberto's left hand in the smaller image of him. I can't figure out what that is, but there's a potential Easter egg right there. But a couple of things that I really did like on the card was the 12 gold gloves at the bottom. I thought it was a really neat feature of the card. And the second one that really stood out that I thought was a great tribute to Roberto Clemente is the Marine Corps logo on the top left of the card. If you're a fan of Roberto, you know in 1958, 1959 offseason, instead of playing winter ball, and for any Latin baseball player, winter ball is what you do when the baseball season ends. He spent 6 months in the reserves at camp, so it was a great thing to see on the card, and I believe this is the first artist to put it on the card, so just a great card overall. It pays homage to Roberto Clemente the proper way, and it also has the pride of Puerto Rico with the flag, with the very vibrant colors that he picked. So now I have to pick a favorite. How am I going to possibly pick a favorite between Grotesque and this F. Roberto Clemente? Just from a buying perspective, I did buy both cards. I picked up 5 Grotesque. That's normal for me to do right now, to buy 5 of the players and the artists I'm collecting. Up to, of course, last week, even to right now, I still do not have a complete F. And I'm missing some of his early cards. But when it comes to my favorite of the day and why I picked this card, I did pick the F. Roberto Clemente for one simple reason. I could not purchase this card last night. When I was on the Topps website picking up my 5 Grotesque cards, I just had to add this card to my set and to my cart basically. So that is why I picked up this card. Typically speaking, when I'm buying a 5 bundle of the players I'm collecting or the artists I'm collecting, I can easily skip the other card. I'm not drawn to buying this other card, but I could not do it with this F. So for that reason, it is my favorite card on Monday, and now on Thursday morning, Wednesday night right now, and I'm recording this, it is my card of the week. We will see what comes out on Thursday and Friday, but right now Roberto Clemente is 1 and number 2 is Mariano. But the great thing here is because these were our Monday cards, we already know their print runs. And last week for me on my print run projections to actuals, I had a really good week, 8 for 10. But after Monday, I'm already 0 for 2 to start the week. I overshot demand on both of these cards. And hey, it's going to happen. I might have a really rough week overall for projections, but we will see how it goes. But on the F. Very surprised this card came in at 2.6. I had it from 2.8 to 3.3. And based on the pre-orders on eBay after the second day, which was right about 44 to 45, I really thought we'd see this card over 3. I was feeling really good about 3.1 to 3.2, but this card fell about 108 cards short of my range at 26.92. So I think some people missed this card overall, but that still is a strong number in the set, 2,700. So very good performance, just underneath sort of my range for the card. And now in the Mariano, as I said at the beginning, he blew another save, and the save is simple, printing a card over or under 2,000, and this Grotesque prints under 2,000, not as low as the Natural, but again another Mariano card under 2,000. And what does that say about this set overall? I think it says absolutely nothing about this set. I think having the same player go under 2,000 again speaks more about the player and the card they picked than anything about this set as a whole. If we'd seen 2 cards print at 1,900 or 1,800, that would be a really bad sign for the set overall. But here, this is just a Mariano issue, and when you think about the card they use, it's a very difficult card. The artists are doing their best with the card, and while I did think this Grotesque was a great card overall, there's just not a lot of love and affection for the card overall from the original perspective, not from the artist's interpretation. So I would not be surprised to see more Mariano cards fall that low, under 2,000, maybe even 1,800. But right now, Mariano is the guy who keeps falling under 2,000. And so while you're here, hit that subscribe button so you are notified the minute I post up a video. I put up a video twice a week on Thursdays and Sundays, and this is the best channel for you for Project 2020 on YouTube.